Okay, today we're doing a lesson on WH questions. So the state standard and the ELL standard for WH questions, who, what, where, when, why, and how. Second grade students need to understand these questions and be able to participate in peer relations, asking and answering questions. And it's the precursor as far as a language arts lesson in text comprehension. In other words, if they were reading a book, a textbook, or a story, they need to be able to answer the WH questions. So we're going to do a lesson on that today. I don't have a class right now since it's summer, so I'm going to just kind of pretend that I have kids. I do have a second grader here with me, my son, and I'm going to ask him to participate, so I'll have one student. Jack, can you come here? We're going to do our lesson. I'll start by showing cards that each student will have on their desk. And they indicate who, what, where, when, why, and how. And they have visual prompts. So Jack, can you find your WH card on your desk right here? And we're going to start out with who. Who is spelled W-H-O. And first I'd like to ask you, Jack, do you know why these are called WH questions? Do you see anything that they have in common?
They all have WH.
Yay, you're right. They all have WH. So on our picture cards in front of us, we're going to start with who. And I ask the question, who is your grandma? Or I could say, who is your best friend? Mm-hmm. And the next question we have is what? So what is usually talking about things. I might say, what are you eating for breakfast? And you might say, I'm eating cereal, or I'm eating pancakes. The next question is where? Where is about location. So where do you live? Jack, where do you live?
California, El Cerrito.
Yes, you live in El Cerrito. Thank you. When is basically referring to time. So we would say, when is your birthday? Or when are you going to sleep? Or when is it going to be time for recess? Okay, the next one is why. Why are you sad today? Why are you bored? Why are you angry? Why are you happy? I'm not really asking the question. I'm just helping you understand what kinds of questions we would ask, okay? Do you want to ask me a why question? No? Okay. How about how? How has a W and an H. It doesn't look like the other ones, but how means how, it's another reason. So how tall are you? I'm sorry, it's not a reason. It's sort of more looking for a quantity, like a number. How tall are you? How old are you? How many jelly beans do you have? So next, after we went over the WH questions, and I would go around the classroom and make sure that the students had a good understanding of them, and children who speak a second language, I would encourage them to write their native language equivalent next to it. So, for example, in Spanish, the word for who is quien. So I would have them write quién. Where is donde? What is qué? When is cuando? And so on. So that they would have this to refer to when they were doing their interview. So Jack, can you do me a favor and sit down? Thank you. He's having a little bit of a rough time. Okay. So the first question on our interview sheet, and if we had a classroom, I would pair the children up. The good thing about a pair share is that the level of anxiety should be less. They can help each other out with communication, and hopefully they can have some fun with this exercise. Okay, so the first question is, what is your name? So one child would ask the other one, what is your name? And then they would say, my name is Jack, for example. Jack, you can, if you don't want to be here, you can go, okay? It's okay, you can go. I'll see you later. Okay, the next one is, where do you live? And one child would ask their partner, where do you live? And they could say, I live in El Cerrito. Now, while this is going on, I would be circulating to make sure that they were comprehending the questions. And it goes down the list and asks, how old are you? What is your favorite color? We would have to go over what the word favorite meant. And I would say favorite means what you like the best. Like, it's my favorite color. I love this color more than anything. Or it's my favorite flavor, ice cream. I like strawberry the very best. And I find with children of this age, the more demonstrative you are with your explanation, the better. That they can understand and relate and remember. Who is your best friend? When do you eat lunch? And this is probably going to take between 15 and 20 minutes. When they're done, I think it's a good idea to play the Guess Who game, where I will take each sheet and I'll say, okay, let's guess who this is. And we'll leave out what is your name. That'll be the last one. And we'll see if how well we know our classmates, and if this is more of a lesson that I would do in the first couple weeks of school. So it would also be helpful for getting to know each other, having a cross-cultural understanding of our classmates, which is very important in a culturally diverse room. And I know in my school, I usually have, although I have an autism class, I usually have about 25% that speak another language at home. So they have a lot of challenges. They're autistic and ELL at the same time. So I have to be very clear. I have to have a lot of manipulatives, a lot of pictures when I'm doing a lesson. Now I have a homework sheet, and for some students that are more advanced, they won't need, what they could do is they could get the answers out of the word bank that appears on top. However, I have a modified version for ELLs or children with learning disabilities, where I'm going to give them two possible answers. So the first one says, are you excited? And they're going to have two possibilities. Why are you excited? Or how are you excited? So out of the two, it's going to be really obvious which one it is, because we want to make things easy is not the right word. I want to make it so that the frustration level is pretty low, and what I'm going to do is give them, out of the 20, I'm going to give them 9 on the first evening and the 10 through 20 on the second evening. And the first 5 will have prompts, and the last 5 will not have prompts. They'll just have the word bank. So in that way, I'll be modifying that piece of homework. Now, after I go through and explain the homework, there's still going to be some free time. There's going to be time for questions. I'm not going to ask, oh, yes or no, do you know how to do this? I'm going to pick a student and say, hey, I have a question for you. Should I say, what is that woman, or who is that woman? And so I'm just going to check understanding on randomly, and I'm going to have the students get back together with their partner and just practice a few of these, asking each other, so that when they go home, it won't be difficult, hopefully, for them to complete the homework. When we're done explaining the homework, my students are going to have the option of playing WH Bingo, where each card, there are cards that just ask who questions, cards that just ask what questions, and so on and so forth, and then there's a combination card. What we'll do is we'll just start out our WH Bingo with the who card. That'll be our first card. We do have some iPads in the classroom that children can share, and there is a WH matching. There's also a WH question, and I unfortunately can't show that because I'm taping on the iPad and the application is on the iPad. So, and then we'll be eventually videotaping for students who are interested, because a lot of children really have a lot of fun with interviews and seeing themselves on camera, and I think it'll help reinforce the WH project that we're on, and I want to use as many modalities as possible for it to sink in for every different type of learner that I might have in the classroom. So that's my WH question lesson plan. I'm sorry I didn't have a classroom or students. I am also attaching a video of myself in my actual classroom doing a WH Bingo game with my students. So that'll be attached too, just to give sort of a feel of my actual classroom. All right, I am going to be using this lesson this school year with my autism classroom. We do WH questions on a lesson. We do a WH question lesson, and we also do WH Bingo quite frequently, and almost on a daily basis we use the iPad just to reinforce their knowledge and to improve receptive language and communication skills. Okay, well, thank you, and this is the end of the video. Bye-bye.